So Tna Impact was a tape show from Tampa, Florida. The show starts off with Aces and Eights backstage. Bully Ray tells the group that the business for tonight is AJ Styles and only AJ Styles. And D'Lo Brown tells Mr. Anderson that he is sorry that the plan to get Styles into Aces and Eights didn't work out. And then Bully Ray walks past Mr. Anderson and gives him a look. Mr. Anderson kind of tells D'Lo to go ahead in front of him. And then Mr. Anderson attacks D'Lo from behind, throwing him into the wall, and then he knocks him to the floor, leaving him there. Okay. So then Bully Ray and Devon come to the ring. Bully Ray gets on the mic and says that in 3 days, Devon will take out dumbass Joseph Park, and that he and Sting will get it on in Boston. And he states that in order for Sting to be an icon, he had to have accomplished a lot in the business. So then Bully Ray mentioned Sting beating the best to become, world heavyweight champion, including, Ric Flair, Hogan, Kurt Angle, and Jeff Hardy. Though Bully Ray mentions that he not only beat Hardy, but he put Hardy out. And then Bully Ray says that he can't wait until Slammiversary to ensure that Sting never wrestles for the world title again. So then Bully Ray calls out Sting and Park so they can fight him and Devon. So then you have the first match, Sting and dumbass Joseph Park against Bully Ray and Devon. Match was okay. I mean, it really wasn't all that exciting. I mean, it started off as a brawl, and basically Texas Tornado rules outside of the ring, and then it became a traditional, tag team match. I mean, that's basically what it was. The match ends with Bully Ray and Devon setting up Park for the What's Up, and then Abyss's music and graphics start playing, and Bully Ray and Devon react by looking toward the entrance, and you got Park reacting to wanting his quote-unquote brother to come out. And while that's happening, Sting pushes Devon off the top rope and delivers the Scorpion Death Drop on Devon, and Park prevents Bully Ray from interfering with the count. Sting gets the pin. The winners of the match are Sting and dumbass Joseph Park. Now, for a moment, I thought that someone would actually come out dressed as Abyss and get involved in the match. Because if you go back to last year's Slammiversary, you had the Anything Goes match between Bully Ray and Park. And if you remember that match, you had someone dressed as Abyss, put Bully Ray through a table, which allowed, Park to get the win. And that person that was dressed as Abyss turned out to be a student from Bully Ray and Devon's Team 3D Academy, which is the wrestling school that they run outside of Orlando. Now, the Abyss music and graphics, during this match were an obvious hint as to what may happen at Slammiversary. But if Abyss appears, then Joseph Park needs to be done permanently. This character needs to be finished. Now, like I said before, TNA will probably either have Abyss, someone dressed as Abyss, and still maintain the Joseph Park character, or they're just going to continue doing this back and forth. Well, first he's Joseph Park, then he's Abyss, then he's back to being Joseph Park. Pull the damn trigger. Either you're going to have this guy be Abyss or not. Decide. So then we have Kurt Angle backstage. And Angle says that even though AJ Styles didn't join Aces and Eights, Styles has still done some unforgivable things. And Angle still respects Styles, but he's still going to make Styles pay. And Angle says he'll be closely watching the match, the main event match later on between AJ Styles and Mr. Anderson. So then we have Dixie Carter coming out to some horrid theme music. I don't know why non-wrestlers need theme music. They don't. Dixie announces that Slammiversary will mark 11 years that TNA has been in business. And she says that the next inductee to the TNA Hall of Fame will be announced at Slammiversary. And she wishes Sting luck in his match against Bully Ray. But then members of Aces and Eights come out, Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and the Director of Chaos. Garrett gets into the ring. He gets on the mic and he wants to know why Dixie isn't wishing Bully Ray good luck. And he says that the Slammiversary celebration is going to feel more like a funeral. So then Doc and Briscoe come in the ring, and all three members surround Dixie, trapping her in the ring corner. But then Samoa Joe and Magnus come running out, and Aces and Eights retreats. Samoa Joe gets on the mic and he talks about, being out for 1 month, waiting to get his hands on Aces and Eights. And he says to Bischoff that he doesn't know whoever gave him permission to speak ever, but since he likes to run his mouth so much about what's going to happen to others, that he should get in the ring with Samoa Joe. Now, I particularly like that line that Samoa Joe gave about Bischoff never having, permission to speak ever. Because Garrett Bischoff, the nepotism in that company, here's a guy that became a ref. Then he figures into the prominent storyline in TNA. He even gets a pinfall over Kurt Angle. And if Eric Bischoff isn't even connected with TNA, Garrett Bischoff isn't even there. And we all know it. So then it goes right into Samoa Joe versus Garrett Bischoff. The match was alright. For the length of time that we actually saw any action, because there really wasn't much seen. The match was barely under a minute when, TNA went to a commercial break, came back from the commercial break, and you see Samoa Joe delivering a foot to Bischoff's face, and then he comes off the ropes, and Doc grabs his leg. Then Magnus comes over and starts brawling with Doc and Briscoe. Then Joe turns back toward Bischoff and he gets clotheslined, and then Bischoff goes outside the ring and makes it a 3-on-1 on Magnus. Referee calls for the bell, and then Joe does some type of horizontal suicide dive and knocks down all the members of Aces and Eights. And then Joe gets on the mic and calls them cowards, and then he announces that there will be a 6-man tag team match at Slammiversary. It'll be Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, and Doc against himself, Magnus, and Jeff Hardy. Now, like I said, the majority of the match happened during the commercial break, so okay. The announcement of Jeff Hardy returning to Slammiversary, or returning at Slammiversary, okay, I'm fine with it. I mean, it was an efficient and subtle way to bring back Jeff Hardy. I mean, TNA didn't make it a big deal by, shoving it down our throats that Jeff Hardy is returning, all the fanfare and all the video segments, all 5,000 of them that you would have seen about Hardy returning. Nice and subtle. I'm fine with it. So then we get a video recap of Gunner returning to TNA and becoming James Storm's partner for Slammiversary. And then we see James Storm and Gunner backstage, and Storm says he picked Gunner because he is a beast and knows how to kill people. And then Gunner talks about fighting a war. Okay, brief segment. I don't know what it exactly accomplished. I mean, a little over the top with the war references, but okay. And then we have Hogan and Hogan's daughter backstage. M-U-T-E. So then we had the 8-man tag team match. Chavo Guerrero, Hernandez, James Storm, and Gunner against Robert Roode, Austin Aries, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian. Decent match. I mean, nothing really, standing out. Gunner gets Aries to submit to the torture rack after delivering a pretty sick backbreaker. And the winners of the match, Chavo Guerrero, Hernandez, James Storm, and Gunner. Now, obviously, Storm did not participate in the match because of his injury, and he's supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm wondering why TNA is still forcing James Storm into this World Tag Team Championship situation if he's physically unable to wrestle. Now, it seems to me that TNA wants to form another tag team, with James Storm, because lately they have been putting emphasis on his past tag team tenures with America's Most Wanted and Beer Money. And if Roode and Aries win the belts at Slammiversary, then it's going to set up very nicely for Bound for Glory. Having Storm and Roode face each other on opposite teams for the World Tag Team Championship. And there's plenty of time, to set all that up and have that happen. But to try to force the issue like this, particularly when he's injured, I just don't get that. I mean, you could have just pulled James Storm and Gunner out, make it a 3-way elimination match for the World Tag Team Championship, and it would have been what it would have been or going to be. But if a guy can't go, then why force it? So then we had AJ Styles arriving at the arena on his bike. Okay. And then we see Aces and Eights backstage, and Bully Ray says that AJ Styles had the nerve to turn them down, and he tells Mr. Anderson that he had better take care of Styles. And then Devon tells Bully Ray that he'll take care of dumbass Joseph Park, and Says that if Abyss shows up, he'll take care of him too. Well, you'll pretty much be taking care of the same person, unless they get someone else to dress up as Abyss, like I said earlier. And then Bully Ray bitches about Jeff Hardy coming back when he thought he had put him out for good, and he tells Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, and Doc to take care of Joe, Magnus, and Hardy. And then he says that he's got a special job for Mike Knox. And then Bully Ray says he's Aces and Aces declaring war on TNA. Well, that's like what? The 7th time that they've declared war on TNA? Hasn't this war been going on for like a year now? And we're just now declaring war? Bully Ray says he wants a lot of victims. He wants victims laid out. And if he doesn't get victims, any or all of them, including Devon, could end up like D'Lo Brown. Okay. So then we had a video segment revealing that San Diego will be the location for Bound for Glory on October 20th. Okay, I think that's a good location. I mean, seems like they're focusing on the western part of the country, trying to develop an audience out there, trying to create more of a presence in that particular part of the country. All right. So then we had the new women's champion, Mickie James, come to the ring. And Mickie says that it feels good to be the new champion, and she thanks the fans. She tells the fans that she loves them, and she loves the fans who have supported her, but points out that there are a small number of people who have questioned how she won the title. And Mickie wants to address that issue, so she calls out Velvet Sky, and then Velvet comes out with her left knee wrapped. And Mickie says that she came to Velvet to make sure that Velvet wanted to go through with the match, and Mickie says that she loves Velvet, and then sarcastically tells the fans to applaud what a great champion Velvet was. And then Velvet tells Mickie that she wants a rematch, but Mickie says that Velvet should wait until her knee heals. But Velvet wants the rematch at Slammiversary. And Mickie says that, Gail versus Taryn has already been booked for Slammiversary. And then Gail Kim comes out. And Gail says that Mickie wouldn't be the champion if she hadn't softened Velvet's knee for her. Now, the interesting part about this is that you got Velvet's left knee wrapped, and Gail is making reference to it. But Gail injured her right knee. You know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see Gail point to the right knee. I mean, even see Gail walk up to Velvet and touch that right knee and say, no, this is the knee I injured. See, that left knee you fucked up on your own. But no, I injured your right knee. I thought that would have been so fucking funny. Because Gail knows that she injured the right knee. She has to go along with it because they screwed up having Velvet sell the wrong knee. Gail knows she did damage to the right knee, but she's got to go along with it. She hated that. So then Gail talks about her frustration, which led her to take out Tara, and take out Taryn, and take out Velvet with that figure 4 leg lock around the ring post. And then Gail says that she will take care of Taryn at Slammiversary and eventually become women's champion. And then Velvet grabs the mic and says that she's getting the next title shot. Then Gail kicks her knee and then tries to drag her to the ring post, but then Taryn Terrell comes out and saves Velvet. Meanwhile, Mickey is just watching everything. And then she leaves. Okay, I thought this was a decent segment. Mickey went as far as she has gone toward turning heel without actually making it official. I mean, she had the sarcastic remarks, not helping Velvet when Velvet gets attacked, and then Mickey leaving with this, oh well look on her face. So it established that push toward being a heel, but not exactly going over. Now, this segment, I think, was decent because it keeps Gail Kim in the title conversation, but she has to win at Slammiversary to make this complete. And because of that, this maintains a triad of connections. You have Gail and Velvet connected with the whole injuring of the knee, even though it's the right knee. You have Mickey and Velvet, a potential next program. With Velvet getting her rematch. And then you have Mickey and Gail with the next program after that. So to put a connection among all three women, seeing as that you have a limited women's division, because this is all you have right now, I thought it did what it had to do. So then it goes right into this mixed tag match. Chris Sabin and Taryn Terrell against Kenny King and Gail Kim. It was a decent match. Taryn Terrell just needs to cut down on the verbal, the screaming, and the over enthusiasm that she has. I mean, how many times did she scream, "Come on, Gail," or just simply, "Come on"? I can appreciate her energy, but it needs to be channeled better. So then Chris Sabin and Taryn Terrell win the match. After Sabin delivers his driver variation on Kenny King, then Sabin gets on the mic, talks about his 2 torn ACLs and 2 years of rehab, and that he's going to become 5-time X Division champion at Slammiversary. And then Kenny King attacks him from behind, tries to attempt a royal flush, and then Suicide comes to the ring and stops Kenny King from doing that. And then Sabin and Suicide stare at each other as Suicide hosts the X Division title. Alright. Well, it's obvious that, at least it's obvious to me that I think this is where we'll see Sabin go over, because you didn't bring him back for him to just be a contender for the next 4 months until Bound for Glory. I think Sabin goes on to win the X Division title, but it doesn't mean that the program between him and Kenny King will end. They just need to get rid of these rules so that we can have those one-on-one matchups and create solid storylines. So then we have a video segment You have Sting talking about all the wrestlers that he's faced in the past to win the world title. So basically, it was just a video rehashing of what Bully Ray had said earlier. So then we had the main event. AJ Styles against Mr. Anderson. Now, some people still don't like AJ Styles' adjusted wrestling, but it really is necessary in order to fit the character that he's playing. It was an okay match. The match ends with Kurt Angle interfering and attacking AJ Styles, but then Styles gets the advantage on Angle. Then you have Aces and Eights entering the ring and attacking Styles and Angle. Then Samoa Joe and Magnus and Dumbass Joseph Park and even Sting come to the ring, and then the brawl escalates. And then the action ends up outside. And then you have Bully Ray and Sting ending up in the ring alone with their foreheads together. And then they start punching each other. Sting gets the advantage and puts the Scorpion Deathlock on Bully Ray, but then Devon hits Sting from behind. And then Bully Ray and Devon deliver the 3D on Sting. And then all the members of Aces and Eights reunite in the ring with their hands up, standing over Sting. And the show ends. Now, TNA marked an anniversary this week. On May 31st, 2012, TNA went live on Spike TV. Now, there were exceptions. You had the tape show on Thanksgiving. You had shows taped during the Christmas holidays, and you had the tape shows during the UK tour. Other than that, every show was live from the Impact Zone. Now we come to a year later, and now TNA is live on the road every other week. But hopefully it will be different next year. Hopefully TNA will be live every week. Hopefully a lot of things will be different a year from now. A lot of things. One in particular, overall. I'm Taskmart 2002, and that was my TNA Impact Analysis for May 30th, 2013. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button. If you subscribe, I really would appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, please leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions for me about TNA or wrestling in general, you can get at me on Twitter, TAZMARK2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email. Taskmart2002@gmail.com. I thought it was an okay show. I mean, it didn't really get me excited for Slammiversary. That doesn't mean that Slammiversary won't be a good pay-per-view. It's just that all these matches that are all, just forced just to present everybody, just to have all the particulars of the pay-per-view engaging with each other. I just think that TNA just needs to find a way to build anticipation without having everyone face each other before the actual pay-per-view. So the show was just okay. Now, there was another anniversary for TNA this week. Also on May 31st, 2012, you saw the debut, if that's what you want to call it, of Hogan's daughter on Impact. And in 1 year, she has accomplished nothing. She has improved at nothing. The only thing that has been consistent is her displaying the same singular facial expression with no emotion. Now, some people have said that she's been great lately. Now, I don't know what location these people are at, but I prefer Earth. And now there's this talk about the possibility of her joining Aces and Eights. And of course, Hogan is responsible for all of this, for shoving her into this primary storyline to begin with. But do some of you actually believe that Hogan's daughter is going to make Aces and Eights better? Let's see. I have two choices of how I want to see Bully Ray. A. Bully Ray with hot chicks kissing on them and rubbing on them, slapping their asses, whatever. And then I have B. Bully Ray being dragged down in creative muck with singular facial expression Hogan's daughter. How do you prefer your Bully Ray? I'm Tasmar 2002. Gone.